Welcome back, everyone. We're on page 3 of Fairy Wings, and this has 6 cuts that you'll need to make, so I wrote them all down for you. The first one, A, is a pocket, so that is 8 3/4 by 4. B is 8 by 7 7/8, so 7 7/8 is 2 lines before 8. C is 5 1/4 by 4 3/8, and that is 2 lines before 4 1/2. D is 5 1/4 by 4 1/4. E is 5 by 5 3/4, and F is 5 by 2 1/2. So that is it for this, and let's start scoring. So A is our pocket, and I usually don't start with the pocket, but on this page I did. So we're going to have the open, we'll start with the open end facing the top. And it's 1/2 inch all the way around, and I have my flat side facing up, linen side facing down. B is a top flap, and we're going to have, let's see, the 8 inch side at the top. So I just want to, these are kind of close, but I want to make sure that's the 8 inch side. It's only off by 1/8 of an inch, so it's not exactly square. So C will have our short side facing the top. C and D, they're going to go in the same place, so it doesn't matter which one you start with. Let's have the short side facing up. These are our little doors that are going to be above the pocket. E, we're going to have our long side facing the top, which I believe is the 5 3/4. And F, short side facing the top. Yeah, so let me just make sure. On this E, we wanted our 5 3/4. So basically this and F are going to be like this, and that is going to go on top of our B, on top of the top flap. So for these, we're going to just set aside because we don't need them till after we decorate that B flap. But put your tape right on the edge. I already did it on this one. These are extra pieces, and we'll set those aside. And let's get out the tape. Let's see, I did it on C and D also because I wanted to test it, make sure. Okay, B is our top flap, so let's put some tape here. And just hit pause whenever, if I jump ahead. Like I'm a little ahead now because I already had those other pieces taped. So I had already cut them for something else, so in order not to waste, I just am going to use that. Now usually, a lot of times my pockets are 4 inches, but a lot of these flaps that I have left over are like 4 1/4. So usually you can just go ahead and use that and it won't matter. In this case, it would matter because we have these C and D door flaps that are going to be right above this pocket. So there's no room for it to be a little bit bigger, deeper than it usually is. So otherwise, on other pages, if you have a paper that's a little more than 4, just put it down, that's okay, and it won't matter. So we have our 3 here, and let's put down the pocket first. So I am going to cut my corners like I usually do. Now, normally my pocket is a little shorter than this one because I'll have flaps on the sides here and they need to go over the pocket. But this page isn't going to have flaps on the side. The side ones are going to be up above the pocket. So this particular pocket can go right up to the edge on both sides. So I'm just going to take off the bottom piece, backing, and put this. So if I'm looking left and right, they come right to the edges, and the bottom, I'm going to guide it down. I could feel it with my thumbs. Gently place that down, and that is it. Okay, I'm going to turn it upside down, and this top flap, let's fold that over. I am going to corner around these edges. I'm going to use the medium one on this if you're using the We Are. So this, if I look left and right, I am going to have a little bit of space left and right. And then I just guide it to the edge here. I'm not exactly even. It's such a minute, but this really, the glue doesn't, when you first put it down, it's really not all that sticky. So if you're going to make any changes, that's the time to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold that down so I don't make it easier on me. And I just want the same amount of little space on each side. And I didn't have it before. Okay. All right, so now the next thing, which is a little tricky, is our C and D flaps. Now, the goal here is when we put them on, it doesn't matter if you put C on the left or on the right and D, they're both going here. What we want to do is when we put them there, here we go, I'm going to weight down this pocket again. There's just going to be a little bit of space between this door and this pocket so that every time I lift up and down, it doesn't scrape along the edge and fray this pocket piece. And then when I look at the top here, there should be about 1/8 of an inch, which is about 2 lines on a ruler. You want a little bit of space there again, because every time you open the doors, you don't want it running into this flap. So if I look here, I want to try to do this before I take the backing off and just make sure everything fits. So whenever you do these side-by-side doors, that's the trickiest part to that. And then again, you also want to look in the middle and make sure there's just a little bit of space here. You don't want them overlapping or being right up touching. There's just a little bit of space, and again, they won't touch each other. So that looks good. I am happy with it. If you need to cut a little bit off, you cut a little bit off. So I am going to corner around that. And this one. Okay, and now we'll put our first one down. We hold that pocket down. Okay. Now, I'm looking to left and right, and I have that little bit of space above the pocket and a bigger amount of space before that score line. And then I'll bring it right to the edge and then put it down. Okay. And then turn it over. I'm going to weight this down with something. There we go. And let's put this down. So I've got a little bit of a shadow here, but I can see the little bit of space above the pocket, a little bit more space. for the top flap, and I'm going to lay this down, and there's just a little bit of space here, and I am happy with that. Okay, voila, that is it. Not too bad. These E and F pieces are going to go like this, the bigger one on top, the smaller one over here on the bottom. And before I put them down, you're going to put your design paper here, and then you put these down. So the only thing you have to remember is you want to put your magnet on before the design paper. So what you can do is, for right now, you can put your magnets on here, but not take the backing off and glue this down. So I'm going to put it where I would have it and then put my magnet on it. So let me just go over this real quick. I am going to have the top one with just one magnet, and the bottom one, the bottom flap is going to overlap the top one, and for that I'll have 2 magnets. Okay, so let's dig out the magnets. Where'd they go? I probably need a new pack soon. Lots of my big ones. Okay, I'm just going to pull out a new pack of magnets. Eat through these magnets, but you know, they're necessary. Okay, so before I put the magnet down, it'd be a whole lot easier if I want a corner round. I'll do it now. And I'm just going to give this a small rounding. Okay. Oops. And I've got my tape. Any which way you put the tape, as long as you got a little bit on the edge that it's going to be showing your border. Okay, those are all ready for me to put down, and I'm going to put one in the middle of this top. So I'm going to give it the same corner round, but I only need one here because these 2 are going to really be holding it down. So if any of you out there, if this is your first book that you've made, leave a comment and let me know how it goes. I always get excited when, you know, someone does this for the first time, and you learn so much. So let me know. All right, so first I'm going to put my top one down first, because these 2 magnets are going to go on top of this one. So this one has to be put down before I put my design paper. So I'm looking here. I don't have to stick it down yet. I'm just putting it where I want it to be, and then I'll press down. Okay. And I can't remember if I told you to do that same thing. Was there another page? There was that other page. Page 2 has a similar idea. You want to put your magnet before the design paper. So that would be going here. So I'll just put that there for now. This one, I'm going to take off the backs of these, minus these negative. Oops. Hopefully you can see me. Okay, so what? Okay, so this is going to be down like that, and I'm just going to hold it there. I still have my backing on here, but I'm going to put it about where I would put it. So line it up so that it's lined up to the left and right here. And you want these magnets to overlap. You don't want them right up to the edge. And you have about 3/4 of an inch, I'd say, along the bottom. And then just place them down and press it. And that is where they go. And now they're there. So this way, when you're ready to put down these flaps, you've decorated this. This will pretty much, you'll put it till it magnetizes and then drop it down and then stick it where that lands. And then same thing over here. When you're ready to put this on, you peel off your tape, you put that till it sticks, you fold that under, and then you stick it down. Okay, so that will be that. For this top flap, we're going to need some magnets. So I am going to put some on the corners here. And that will be it for this page. Sometimes when I peel this paper off the back here, some of the tape comes along with it. And so that's why I put an extra piece of score tape on top. Negative charges there. Okay. Now, I'm going to hold this all down, flip this over, and then give it a press, and there they are. And I will tape this down. Wait, I forgot about the doors. We need to have our magnets here. Yeah, I thought I was finished, but no, I forgot about that. So, for the doors, and there's another little thing that I put on top of the doors. So for the doors, let's put them in the middle. These are small enough that if you put it in the middle, the edges won't flip up. Sometimes if you have a big door like that, you have to put the magnets in the corners or the edges kind of curl up. That won't happen here. Gee, I felt like that was going too quick. I forgot all about these doors here. Now, if you remember from the walkthrough, I took one of the small ephemera cards and made a little booklet out of it. And then I put it right here. This has a magnet in here. And I put that here to close it. And I tried just putting this here and using that as a closure, but these doors did not stay down very well. So I still needed the magnet there. But I kept it because it just looks cute to have there. It's just something different. And this is an interactive book, so you want people to be lifting and pulling and opening stuff. So I do have this right there. So let me show you how I decorated this page. It's real cute. I'm gonna put these here for now. And when I'm ready, I'm gonna decorate this with a different paper, and I will show you that within a week. But let me show you what I did with this page. Just so you can see the choices of paper without flipping back and forth between the walkthrough video and this video. So I'm gonna put this back. Okay. So the top flap, I chose this paper is from the Patterns and Solids, I believe. I'm pretty sure. Let me just, yes, that's from the Patterns and Solids. This is from the your collection pack. My favorite paper, I love that. So you can glossy accent that if you want to put some on the bubbles. And you'll be able to lift these up, put pictures underneath and a picture here, and that way you don't have to cover this up, you know, so because your picture will be underneath here. So that's why I did that, and it looks just something different. You pull up the top flap, and I have the same paper that's over here. So I try to tie in the pages that are next to each other. So this has the fairy. She winds up in the middle over here. And that's beautiful paper. And down here I have, it's pink with little flowers and bubbles. So you can also put some glossy accent on some of these bubbles. This is the card, and I will show you real quick how to make one of these. But let's first, this pink butterfly paper that I believe is from the Patterns and Solids, and it might be from the collection pack. I can't remember exactly. But I have the same thing underneath. This I do believe is from the Patterns and Solids. It's the reverse side of one of these papers, so it's like an ombre pink. It's real neat. And in the pocket, I made a little booklet from one of the ephemera cards, and then this was just a photo mat from a leftover piece, and this pocket can hold more. I'm probably going to put a bigger photo mat back there. I do have some leftover paper, so you can do that at the end, see what's left over. For the pullout, I used the bubble paper with the fairies on there. So for this, let me just show you, because that's going to go right in here. And let me show you what I did for that. All right, so I'm going to take an ephemera card. Here we go. All right, so I chose a horizontal one. The back sides are pretty too, so don't forget to look at some of those. You might like that too. And I'm going to take a scrap piece of paper here, and what I do is I put it up in the corner like this, and then I'm going to cut right here. Clear my way. Okay. So I'm going to put that right there. I have a little bit of an edge. And then I'm going to cut like that. And then I take my pencil, which I use a lot really to fit the papers onto the pockets. I use the pencil. I take the paper, put it on top of of the black, and then I make a pencil mark where I want to cut. In this case, I'm going to take a pencil mark and put the same amount of space that I have over here, put a little mark, and that is where I'm going to score. I fold it over. Bring out my cutter and line it up. I've got a line here and I can just cut right to the edge. And I like to corner round this because the ephemera card is rounded. So might as well keep it consistent. There's a little trash can up here that I use. And then your card will go right on top there. And there you do, you have a booklet. That is how I do those. For this, I don't know if I went over it already, but if you want to ink, you can, light papers, you can get away with not inking because you won't, the white of the core won't bother you. There's a lot of white in this paper, but if you're an inker and you have to ink everything, that's fine. Some people love it, some people hate it. But I chose I am an inker. So I use a pewter, it's like a light gray color. I use a lot of close to my heart because they're magnetized. So it's real easy with one hand. I can just take this off. I use a dauber and put it back. So I lost my little dauber. I think it fell on the floor. But basically it's one of these, you get the refillable sponges and it's real easy to ink the edges. So that is what I do for that. On this particular one, I did put a magnet here and here so that it lays closed on top of those doors. And that is it for page 3. We are on to page 4 next video. So I hope you had fun and see you soon.